Olivia, welcome to DITL.
Thank you for having me, Paige.
Thank you for being here. So on DITL, we always start at the beginning of your day and would love for you to tell us what time do you wake up and how do you get your day started?
I wake up at a different time depending on the time of year and my energy levels. Sometimes I am the absolute worst and sleep until 8:39, and then other times I can't sleep past 6 a.m. So it really changes for me. And I just kind of listen to my body because I have my own company. I let myself wake up when my body wants to wake up, because those times of year that I do have the will and the strength to sleep in, I almost feel like I have to lean into that and gather my strength. And then other times when I'm just on and I'm in a really busy season, I just deal with the lesser hours of sleep. And as soon as I wake up, I really try to do the good old Andrew Huberman thing and just expose my eyes to that sunlight. So I'll open a window. I live on the East Coast and usually it's quite cold in the morning, so I don't always throw myself outside. But I open a window, expose my eyes to light, and just get started on my morning routine sitch. And so that always involves some kind of a nourishing tea. I'm an herbalist, and so I got to get my herbs in there somehow. Right now, that looks like nettle tea, because as we're going into spring, it's a really good practice for the 2 to 3 months leading up to allergy season to drink nettle tea every single morning to start stabilizing your mast cells so your body doesn't freak out and release a whole bunch of histamine when you're exposed to pollen. So I've been doing nettle tea every single morning. I hit my electrolytes, and then I start making my breakfast because I like to eat within 30 minutes of waking up.
What electrolytes do you use?
It oscillates. I do love a little element. A watermelon salt is my deepest addiction. I love Peak electrolytes, but sometimes I find that I don't need that much sodium. So I will also use this other electrolyte called Crampaid with a K. That's a high potassium electrolyte. It's like this small, obscure family business. And I can just tell, I actually can tell based on, it's so weird how my mouth feels. Sometimes I'll get a little bit of gum pain. And when I know I have gum pain, that's when I need to hit the potassium electrolytes. And then when I have a headache, that's when I need to hit the sodium electrolytes. So it'll depend.
Tell me about this gum pain. I'm like, wait, how does that show up for you?
So this is like I love the specifics. You guys are really getting to know my mouth.
Yeah.
So I have one of my teeth, there's just a little bit too much space between the two teeth in the back. And so my gum is like a little bit more exposed there. And sometimes I'll just have like a piece of food stuck in there after I eat my breakfast. And the days when I'm not potassium deficient, for whatever reason, maybe I'm less stressed or whatever, I'll have food back there and I'll feel it, but it won't be painful. But the days when I'm potassium deficient, it will be so painful and it'll feel like the princess and the pea. Like it's putting so much pressure on my gum and it's annoying the crap out of me. And obviously I'll water pick to get it out, but as soon as I take the potassium electrolytes, for some reason that dissipates. And I found that out when I experimented with a carnivore diet once. I did like a carnivore diet for a month just to see what would happen. And that whole month I had really intense gum pain, not just that spot in the back, but my gums were kind of throbbing and I couldn't figure out why. And I kept looking it up and I was doing the sodium electrolytes and it wasn't getting better. They say low carb, hit the sodium. But I just tried taking potassium supplements to balance some of that sodium. And as soon as I took like 3 potassium capsules, the gum pain disappeared. So ever since then, I've just been like, oh, it seems like potassium is a mineral that my body, moves through when I'm more stressed out. And so I just try to kind of take stock of these different symptoms, and natural to me as a practitioner and herbalist to just notice my body's patterns and listen to that and experiment and see what works.
Wow, crazy. I'm going to start paying attention to my gum pain.
Could be different for you.
Yeah.
Could be like a soreness behind the eyes. Some people get that when they're a little low in potassium.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
So you get your sunlight in, you get your nettle tea.
Yes.
And then your electrolytes.
Electrolytes, yeah.
What happens next for you?
So then I'm immediately cooking breakfast for myself and my husband. He usually sleeps a little bit later than I do. He knows I take the morning shift and he kind of takes the night cleanup shift, get the kitchen ready for the next day. And so I will prepare us breakfast. Right now, my breakfast is overnight protein oats. So every night before bed, I just take a mason jar. I fill it with sprouted quick cook oats. For whatever reason, those digest the best for me. Some chia seeds, a scoop or 2 of protein powder, vanilla bean powder from Lafaza, and cinnamon powder with a little bit of Malden salt. And I will just fill that with water and kind of shake it up and let the chia seeds hydrate. I'll keep that in the fridge overnight. And then that next morning, it makes it so easy for me to just open up the mason jar and just pour that into a pot on the stove and heat it up, because I'm not a serial killer. I don't eat cold oatmeal. I know some people do, but I like warm oats. And so I'll just, reheat that. And then I put it in a bowl. I add pumpkin seeds. I add ground up flaxseed. I actually grind it fresh in a coffee grinder, because if you have pre-ground flaxseed, it can kind of oxidize and the fats can go a bit rancid. So I like to grind them fresh, and I add flaxseed for extra fiber. So now I have the chia and the flax. And then I also add a ton of blueberries. If you can find the Driscoll's sweetest batch, not the regular Driscoll's, but the Driscoll's sweetest batch, it's in a rectangular container and they're huge. They're monstrous. They are the best blueberries on planet Earth. I bulk order them on Instacart, and I will fill my bowl with those blueberries, and then I'll drizzle maple syrup.
Is there a certain time of year that you find those, or they're always available?
No, you got to look time of year. What I kind of do on Instacart is I'll type in Driscoll's sweetest batch, period. I won't, denote which type of berry I'm looking for, and I'll just see what's kind of in stock at the time. Sometimes they have the strawberries, sometimes they have blackberries. It just depends on time of year. So I think in the winter time, that's when they tend to have the blueberries. And so I just try to really take advantage of that, because on the East Coast, we don't have the proximity to produce that you guys have.
I know.
So I try to find my produce, and then I do a lot of farmers market seasonal shopping. So that's my breakfast. I'll make the same thing for my husband, or he'll be totally picky and be like, no, I want some obscure leftovers from last night. And then as soon as we eat, we head right out and walk the dog.
Just going back for a second, favorite protein powder?
So I'm currently developing my own protein powder, because I really like Truvani. It's a great brand. I also like Sprout Living vanilla protein powder. For me, I can't do whey. When I take a whey protein powder, I get small acne on my forehead. A lot of people react with forehead acne from whey. That's usually kind of like small intestinal inflammation. So even though I can do dairy, I avoid the whey. I like a plant protein. So Truvani or Sprout Living are my two favorite plant protein brands, but each one has their drawback. It's like sometimes that you get so tired of the Truvani flavor because it's so pea protein heavy and it's very one-noted. And I can just now taste when that's in my oatmeal, and my oatmeal tastes like that. And then with the Sprout Living, it's good, but it doesn't taste as good in a protein shake as the Truvani. So I put like the Sprout Living in my oatmeal, the Truvani in my shakes, and I switch it up. But I'm hoping to create a plant protein that is kind of has the best of both worlds.
Exciting. Yeah. Can't wait for that. Yeah. All right. So you're out on a walk, husband, dog, walking New York City.
So I actually live in the burbs. I'm Yonkers, born and raised. You know where Yonkers is?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah. I'm a Yonkers gal. So it's nice to be near the city, because I get a little Metro North action. I could get in and out, right? 40 minutes each way.
Thank God for Metro North.
God bless. But I like being in the suburbs, because I just feel like I get my feet on the ground a little bit. And it's people that are just more the people I grew up with, where we're not in that hustle and bustle, and it's a slower pace. So I like to have that break from city living, because I come to LA a lot too. So I'm in the suburbs. I live right below a trail. And so we hit the trail right away, and it's a no phone walk for him and I. I leave the phone at home. That's really that sacred point in my day where I'm like, this is the intentional time to really connect with my husband. We end up having really good conversations on that walk that we don't often have elsewhere. And we really connect with my dog, because I find my dog is so happy when it's the three of us and when he can feel we're being present, because dogs really need that pack walk. They like when their pack is together. My dog's even happier when we're with my parents. He's like, yes, the whole family's together. So it's very important to take that time every day. And we'll do a long walk, 45 minutes to an hour. I really try to maximize that time and use it as part of my exercise routine and kind of habit stack.
And what do you do in those colder months when you can't get out there?
Oh, no, I get out there.
Oh, you get out there.
Doesn't matter. That's a excuse I used to tell myself. It's too cold. I can't go out there. How is that making me more resilient? It's like a resilient body is one that goes out into the cold and is able to adapt. And I think that that's sometimes why East Coasters have a little bit more grit, because we just got to do that. And I find that when I spend too much time in like very temperate climates, I get a little softer. I don't love that. So I think it's character building for me to be like, yeah, this sucks right now. I'm going to get out in the cold, but I have to do it. And there's that 1,000-hour challenge. Have you heard of that? Yeah. So it's like, it's crazy that just because it's cold, we spend 23 hours a day inside of our homes. I think about that. I think about that for my dog. I'm like, oh my goodness, he's an animal and he's in the house 22 hours a day sometimes. That's wild.
Right.
So I just think of it as an essential part of my health to force myself to get out there. Just put some extra layers on. I just tell myself, let me bundle up as much as I can and brave that cold because it's going to make me a more resilient human being.
Mm-hmm. So you are all these incredible things, an herbalist, a podcaster, you run a business, you're developing products. What are you doing then to get your workday started? And how do you kind of, stay focused, stay on track?
So I think after that walk, I'm mentally invigorated. It really helps to just start my day with the movement. And sometimes I'll go right to the gym after that walk because I'm waking up, early. If I'm waking up at 6 a.m., this is when I can kind of fit all these things in. If I wake up later, it's like I maybe ask my husband to walk the dog.
Uh-huh.
But if I'm waking up at 6 a.m. and I'm in my thriving era, I have the time to do the breakfast, do the walk, hit the gym, come back and really start my workday. I also don't love to start my workday before 10 a.m. I think that I think I've seen a study that says that it actually makes people less productive. And I just feel like your morning and the tone in which you set the day is so important. If you don't meet yourself in the morning, you're not going to be able to fully, truly meet yourself the rest of the day. I think you have to spend that time with yourself and go slow. And for me, my nervous system can get so hyperactivated that I try to take the time to remind myself in the morning, I have enough time. I'm not in a rush. There's more than enough time. I say a lot of affirmations relating to time for me because I can so often get so hyper excited and into whatever I have to do that day that my brain's already there. And I forget to enjoy my morning because otherwise then my whole entire day in life will be work. And that doesn't make sense.
It's so interesting. I'm a mom of two and I keep seeing on Instagram all these posts. I feel like they've totally targeted me of just saying that like a rush child makes for an anxious child. And them constantly feeling like we have to get out the door, we have to go to school, we have to do this, we have to be here, like we're running behind, we're doing this. Of like, they have no idea what's ahead of them. And so it creates this really like anxious, stressed feeling of time. And I love those affirmations you give to yourself of like, I have enough time, because at the end of the day, we are the ones who control a lot of the time and the schedule that we're setting.
100%. And it can be tough because you're a mom. Sometimes it doesn't actually, like logistically, there's not actually enough time. You're doing a lot of different things. But I find that even when I'm short on time or my schedule's packed, just saying to my body, I have enough time. I'm not in a rush, and just being in that moment, even though there's a lot of pressure looming around me, somehow that helps. And just kind of taking it back to that relationship with myself. Because sometimes, life is hard. I don't know what the hell my morning routine is going to look like when I have kids. I'm sitting here like, I brush my teeth slowly to connect with my soul. But I have no idea what I'm in for.
We'll redo DITL.
Yeah.